Hi guys, so we haven't done anything like this for a really, really long time. And I need to start with a trigger warning because we are going to talk about gross medical stuff, pregnancy loss, depression, that kind of thing. But essentially for this video, because we've had some major updates on our endometriosis journey, I found a bunch of old videos of pieces I did to camera as we were going through the journey, and we thought it would be good to go back, watch it and react to them. Did you just stifle a yawn?
I did stifle a yawn. I've been up for a long time, I apologise.
We're going to go back through them, react to them as we go, and just, I think, update. I think it would be really interesting. I cry in the first video. I think I'm pretty strong for the other two. And it's worth sticking around for the last video because it was an interview I did with Carl about how endometriosis affects him, and I think that's really, really important.
And safe to say that my views and opinions may have changed since then.
And facial hair.
And my facial hair. And my hair in general.
Yeah. But, yeah, so we're going to start with the first video.
You don't see me on camera because I don't like being in front of the camera, but I really wanted to do an update on what we've been going through with our infertility, endometriosis, walk for endo, and if I'm honest, I'm having a flare day, so it's hot flushes and pain and just feeling crappy. So I thought if I'm going to do a video about endometriosis, this is the time to do a video about endometriosis. So I am going to do my best to talk about endometriosis.
How many times can you say endometriosis in the space of a minute?
But I can't make any promises.
I'm so young.
Drinking fans, get your shot glasses ready.
Already, but basically, around 3.5 years ago, I got diagnosed with stage 1 endometriosis. It took about 1.5 years to get a doctor to agree that actually I needed surgery.
I think it's important to explain that there's 4 stages of endometriosis, and you can have stage 1 and have the worst pain imaginable, or you can have stage 4 and have the worst pain imaginable. Everyone is different, everyone's experience is different, but stage 1 endo will generally be like an endometrioma or some adhesions. Stage 4 is where I'm at now, where everything is stuck together.
Surgery. They realised it was a lot worse than they thought. They did take out the one endometrioma that I had, but there were so many adhesions and things that my bladder was at risk, my bowel was at risk, my actual uterus was at risk. So what should have been...
At risk back then.
Oh, I know.
How bad is it now?
I will do a proper update at the end, but yeah, it's not at risk anymore, it's risked, it's gone, it's... Game over.
So, to clarify, to make sense of like the timescale, this was 4 years ago?
I think so. I was 29, I'm 32 now. Nearly 33.
And they flagged it and did nothing about it. Until now.
Yeah. The bowel and the bladder and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they just couldn't do any more because they needed to bring me around for an anaesthetic. So I came home from hospital, healed, got better, got told our chances of infertility would skyrocket, had some miscarriages which were really heartbreaking for both me and Carl after trying for so long. We went back to hospital a couple of times because I'd been having increasing bladder pain, and then we sort of went on a roller coaster of yes we can have IVF, no we can't have IVF, yes we're viable, no we're not. We finally got told we could have IVF. We went to the IVF clinic, we had a scan, and they said that the endometriosis was back. Not only was it back, but it was one of the worst cases that doctor had ever seen. So in the space of 6 months, I'd gone from having 1 endometrioma removed to 4 new.
It's important to flag that at that appointment, not only did they realise how quickly it had come back and how advanced it was, but they kept leaving the room to get other people.
Our nurse was like, I need someone else to have a look at this. And then 3 people came in and they were like, we need to get more people in on this. And then 8 people came in and we were all huddled around this little monitor. And
it was like that episode of Friends where Ross wants to get something removed and they've never seen anything like it, and they keep bringing more doctors in the room, and then they're all just crowded around. It felt like that.
It was unnerving because they were using the medical jargon
Yeah,
like,
we weren't really...
This could be that, but it's 4 millimeters to the left, so it can't be this. But at the same time, you've got 2 terrified people who it's actually affecting, and they didn't say anything to us. They were just like, everything's fine, it's okay, we just need to get more eyes on this. It was a horrible event.
It was not a good day.
That had stuck my ovaries, my bladder, my bowels, some of my abdominal wall, my uterus and my fallopian tubes together. The problem that caused is that it's irreversibly damaged my bladder. So the procedures that I've been having and the appointments I've been having recently with urology have basically come back and said that I have bladder disease now. They'd found nodules, they were worried about cancer. It's not cancer, but I do have bladder disease. So one of the things that I find hardest is the fact that I have to use the toilet every 5 minutes. It's hard to keep down a job. I can't go anywhere in the car without planning which lay-bys I have to go for a wee in.
I'm a pro at this now.
So that's really challenging as a 29-year-old to have the bladder.
I should be sponsored by Shiwi.
And this is all a really new development for us. We got referred to an endo specialist who we were told would do the surgery that I need to remove the endometriomas. I had another scan a couple of weeks ago.
It's worth clarifying that not only did that appointment get cancelled, but also despite weighing less than I did when I had my initial surgery, that specialist wouldn't touch me unless I lost another 3.5 stone. And then COVID happened, and then it was all just...
Didn't that turn out that she wasn't actually a specialist, just someone who was deeply interested in it?
No, that was the first surgeon who I said was absolutely amazing. She wasn't.
As well as the 4 endometriomas, I have a large hemorrhagic cyst on my right ovary that has attached itself to the endometrioma. And their concern is that as the endometrioma contracts with my period, it's going to contract the massive hemorrhagic cyst, which will cause it to rupture. We asked what that meant, and they said it's just a watch and wait scenario. But the pain that comes with that is indescribable. I'm surgically attached to hot water bottles at the moment. I have a walking stick because I can't get on and off the toilet. I have to we have a chart we have to fill in about how many times I'm using the toilet. If I'm on my period.
I've got to say, this was a few years ago now, but watching it back, I'm like, it's just a joke amongst my friends now and me that I have to pee all the time, constantly. I can't believe how at 29 I was left to the point of just like crying about needing the toilet. Like, that should have been taken care of so much sooner. It should never have been allowed to get to that stage. But the fact that I must have seen about 7-8 doctors by this point, and no one had done anything about that.
I'm sure we mentioned it before in
every
the
single
previous
appointment,
videos, but not once did they ever even entertain the idea. Even when post this, even when we said we know what we have, it's endometriosis, these are the common symptoms, this is what we're going through, they're like, yeah, no, probably not. It's probably not that at all. It's probably just another UTI.
No,
just take some medication.
That is covered in these videos. You'll be amazed what I uncovered in these videos. It's going to be a real journey to the past for you. Get ready, Anastasia.
I wee 100 times a day because I can't empty my bladder.
Look at my little face.
I can't stress how important it is to go and talk to your doctor if you feel like your periods are not normal.
Come on, girl.
Go for your smear tests. Talk to your GPs. If your periods hurt, if they stop you from working, if they're incredibly heavy, if they've been going on for longer than is normal, if there's any abnormalities with your period, go and see a GP. I can't stress how important that is, because I can't have children. I can't give Carl a kid. He has to watch me be in pain all the time. They've told me I've got to lose 3.5 stone to do the endometriosis surgery, but that if we have the surgery we definitely won't be having children. The chances of it winding up being a full hysterectomy are incredibly high, so now we have to weigh up how much we actually want children compared to how much we don't want to be in pain. We spoke to them about harvest.
I know I'm stopping it during a really emotional bit, but I feel like it's worth pointing out. I was 29 here when I was told I needed a hysterectomy. I'm nearly 33. I will be 36 by the time I actually move up the wait list to have a hysterectomy, and it's worth flagging that information. I just think that it's appalling.
We were only together for a few years.
Not even that, 6 months.
6 months.
I got diagnosed 6 months in.
So having that, to have that emotional bombshell dropped on not just someone who's young, but also in a young relationship, that put an unnecessary amount of stress on us.
It did, and I feel like we never got to have the conversation that every couple gets to have of, do we want to have kids? Or do we want to just travel and have money? And it was a case of, you have a kid now or you don't have a kid. And so it's been this really emotional, like, well, of course we want kids. Everybody wants kids, don't they? And we never got to have that conversation because we were made to feel like it was now or never. And actually, we're okay with... We're okay with not having kids now. Like, I am too tired.
It took us a really long time, like, years, to, like, wait all out and to, like, really dive into the child issue. We always thought about, well, maybe we could adopt, or maybe we could foster. That's something that we can always look into. But after what we had to get through for a denial of a referral for adoption, kind of made me backtrack on that.
I feel like I've spent what is supposed to be the best, most active years of my life chronically ill, and that I've missed out on so much that when I'm better, I really want to spend that time living my life. And I mean, we have 2 nieces and 4 nephews, so it's not like our life isn't full, and all our friends are getting to that age where they're starting to have kids, so like, we're good.
We're good.
Yeah. Don't worry about this crying girl, she's fine.
The eggs, they won't harvest my eggs because I don't have cancer.
I wish I hadn't used the word harvest.
Harvested, I need to find between £5,000 and £10,000, which is never going to happen. So just, you might just think, oh, it'll be fine, but just for peace of mind, please go and speak to your GP, because it's not worth the heartache of miscarriages, it's not worth the heartache of being in pain, and do it. In fact, I'm supposed to have a procedure at the hospital on Monday, and I've had to change it because it's just, I'm already in too much pain and I wouldn't be able to cope with the procedure. So from a mental health perspective, a lot of people who know me really well, my really close friends, and a lot of the ladies I do reenactment with who have been invaluable when it comes to sport, have heard me complaining that I feel like less of a woman because I can't have a baby and I can't give Carl a kid, and it's like the one thing that women are designed to do is have a baby. We got turned down for adoption by our local council because of my endometriosis. They told me to come back when I was better. So again, I feel like I let him down again there too.
I also have to stress, not only did they tell us to come back when we were better, but I think of the 40 couples in that room, we were the only one they didn't give like a leaflet, like an information booklet to at the end of the session. And it just felt really isolating and traumatic, and it was a long time ago, and I hope that they're better placed now to deal with emotional situations like that. But,
it's very ostracising.
I feel, my heart goes out to anyone else that's been through that. But I have to say, that was a council-led adoption scheme, and actually every adoption charity we've spoken to has been like, it's absolutely fine and we're here to support you through that. So had we not been completely put off, then, we would have had options. It's not just because one place turns you down doesn't mean you should give up, is what I'm trying to say. If it's what you really want, there will be an agency that will work with you.
Like a letdown again. Being the reason that his heart breaks so often is really, really hard. He's really supportive, and I don't know what I would do without him. I couldn't do it on my own, and I'm really, really grateful that he is so patient with me.
Someone's got to get me on and off the toilet.
While we were furloughed, I should have spent a lot of time doing productive things, proactive things like the website and the blog, and I didn't.
Rip.
Because most days I couldn't even be bothered to wash my hair because I was just so over being sick. Having to go to the toilet every 5 minutes and having your friends roll your eyes is really hard work. people not understanding that you can't come and visit them because you can't drive your car because it hurts to sit down is really hard, because you feel like people think you're lying, or people think you're making it up, or that you're just lazy or don't want to spend the money, and it's not the case. Because
I've also been accused of all these things.
If I could do anything for them, I would. Letting family down, not being able to attend occasions, being scared when someone announces a wedding in case you're going to be on your period is really horrible. There's a lot of things that I can't do now that I would like to do. I used to love riding horses. I can't, it hurts. Playing with my nieces and nephews, I love them so much. They are my entire world, and it's bittersweet because it reminds me of everything that we won't have. And at this,
I have to say real quick that my viewpoint on that has changed so much, because our nieces and nephews, I mean, 3 of our nephews and our 2 nieces live in other countries, but we babysit our nephew quite a lot. And the TV show Bluey did an episode about their auntie being upset that a onesie didn't fit anymore, and the whole episode, I think, is about infertility and them understanding why their auntie can get upset, and the mum explains it to them as, do you remember how you were upset when your onesie didn't fit you anymore, or something like that. And it was so well done that now, if I don't feel well and I just need to lie on the sofa, my nephew, who is 5 and the biggest ball of energy you've ever met, will, if he knows I need to lie down, will just sit on the floor and play quietly and just asks me to put a TV show on for him, and I won't hear a peep out of him until I feel better. And I just think that, at 5 he already understands, and he knows that I have good days and bad days, and I don't have that guilt now. I think as they get older, they understand that Auntie Maria's just a bit poorly, so if they want to have some fun, they need to go and climb on Uncle Carl instead.
That's what I'm here for.
They mean so much to me, but they don't understand that sometimes I can't play chase or push them on a swing because it hurts my stomach. So that, again, that's really detrimental to mental health. I don't think there is the support emotionally for women who have endometriosis. I definitely have my moments where I feel like it would be easier to just not be here anymore, because Carl could move on and have a kid and I wouldn't be in pain anymore. And I know that's a really negative way to think, and it's a really bad way to think. People that know me really, really well know that I
do still
have days where I feel that way, but I can't stress how important it is that if you do feel that way, to just talk to somebody. I'm really, really good now at reaching out to my friends. Samaritans are excellent. Mind are really good. There's people you can talk to. If you don't feel like you can talk to someone close to you, there's so many ways now to find people to talk to. There's also forums for people with endometriosis, and just the support system is so great. I do still have days where I feel like that, but I feel like I'm really good at communicating to you now. If I feel like that, or to my 2 best friends, I'll tell them. So yes, I do still have days where I feel that way, but I'm also still, despite everything, really grateful to be here and to have the support system that I do. But I know not everyone has that, so just if you feel like you don't have actual people to talk to, just use Samaritans. It's what they're there for.
Have, which is an emotional disorder caused by trauma, which is a different story for a different day. But one of the main issues I struggle with BPD is black and white thinking. So you either love me or you hate me, and there is no in between. So for me, I have days where I'm I can really do this and I can make a difference and I can raise awareness. And then I have days where I just don't want to be here anymore and I can't see the point, and those are the days where I have to really fight and really lean on my friends. And I think people forget how it affects Carl.
Oh my god, I used to care about you so much.
I know. Where did that go?
It's not just me going through it. He has to watch me be in pain. He's the one that uncomplainingly gets up at 2, 3, 4 in the morning when he starts work at 6.
Still does it.
Make me hot water bottles, or sort out the medication, or just make me a cup of tea because I feel sick. People don't understand how much it affects him when someone goes through pregnancy loss. I don't think they always think about how it affects the other person in the relationship. So I just think it's really important to stress how much we appreciate everyone's support, because we could not do this battle without everyone. So thank you. I'm determined I'm not going to get upset, but I need to talk about pregnancy loss real quick. There are really good
I'm always upset.
support groups for pregnancy loss. I found the ones in Norfolk. Just, if you Google it, you'll find plenty, and they are all amazing. It's important to talk about it. Things like women's health and pregnancy loss are really, really taboo. I have had an issue recently with pregnancy announcements, and I want to make it clear to all my friends, I don't begrudge you having a baby. I'm excited for the cuddles. Please don't be weird about telling me. Please stop singling me out, because it just makes us feel worse. I'm happy for people, but some people are sending me scam photos and they haven't even announced it on social media, so there's really no need to be singling me out and telling me it's just painful, and you can't tell a pregnant person that you don't want to see their scam photos because it makes you sound evil.
Yeah, you can.
I appreciate that people think that they're doing something nice by trying to protect us and shield us, but I would rather people just posted it online so that when we can react in our own way and say congratulations like everybody else. I don't like being singled out because I'm infertile.
I would, well, not, my perspective on this is not that different. I found, like, because I work in an office now, we get a lot of emails going around if someone in our wider department is going on maternity. And I think it was around Christmas, it felt like every day I was logging on to another email about someone going on maternity and asking for donations for cards and presents. And whilst I'm so happy for all these people, because every baby is a blessing, it's just been like a constant reminder that I'm never going to have a baby shower, and I'm never going to have a baby. And, like, although 99.9% of the time I am okay with the fact that I'm not going to have a baby, every single announcement, and I think it's really, really human, and to not beat yourself up if you feel this way, but every single announcement feels like a little mini knife in my gut. And I think that I am probably just a little bit too precious, but everyone's...
It's like that drip of water on the rock analogy.
Just
Eventually that
away.
rock is going to break and eventually...
Yeah, and I think, like, oh my god, if there's so many people in my life right now, I'm waiting for them to tell me that they're having a baby, and I'm so excited, I'm, like, anticipating this news. And it is still a case of, I'd rather not be, like, if it's them, they can single me out, I'm excited, I want them to tell me first. But I was getting messages from people I hadn't spoken to for like 6 or 7 years on Instagram being like, I just wanted to let you know I'm pregnant before I tell everyone. And that's the sort of thing I'm referring to here. Like, I'm really, congratulations, but it's completely irrelevant and quite insensitive to single me out, especially since at the time on Instagram I was so vocal and so keen on raising awareness. It felt like a really weird thing to do, and I was clearly very emotional and feeling very targeted.
And I have had this conversation with quite a lot of women in the same boat as me who feel the same, and it's really, really heartbreaking. We are excited for our friends and family to have kids. We're not excited for the way we get told about it.
I think that's fair.
But I can't stress how important it is that if you have endo or any mental health issue and you're feeling low and you feel like you don't have a way out, talk to somebody. Even if you have to just go on Instagram and put a post out that says, I need to talk to somebody, just call Samaritans. Samaritans are amazing, but I have been so close so many times, and without the love and support of certain people, especially our families, and our reenactment group, I just don't think I could carry on fighting it because it's just too painful. So I just really wanted to say thank you to everyone that puts up with us complaining and crying. That it's definitely a condition that is becoming more well known. Celebrities are talking about it a lot more, which obviously helps, but it's a shame that is what it takes to get listened to, because it just takes too long. I've had issues with my period since I was 16. I'm 29 now. I got diagnosed at 25. That's too long. If I'd have got diagnosed earlier, I wouldn't be in the position that I'm in now. If my doctors had listened to me earlier, I would not be in the situation that I am in now, and I probably would be able to have a baby. But we were messed about and we weren't listened to. One doctor just flat out said that they didn't believe I was in pain. it's really difficult. We've been to the doctors in chronic pain and told that we have a urine infection without even being examined. Just sat on a bed, had our stomach touched, and said it's a urine infection. And it was endometriosis, and it took 6 to 9 months after that to find out that that's what it was, and it was too late by then. So just, if you feel down, if you're struggling with endo, just talk about it, talk to somebody.
So Essex.
Yeah, and thank you to everyone that supports us. I know I've said that. So I know that's a really depressing video.
With really choppy editing.
2 things. 1, I cry a lot. 2, when I'm upset, my Essex accent comes back really, really strong. But when I'm happy, apparently my Norfolk accent pushes through. So that's something I've learned about myself today. You won't see me in front of the camera often. I really, 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 really hate it. I hate the way I look. I hate the way I sound. But
look at this face!
I feel like it was really, really important while I'm sitting here, while I'm in pain, and while I'm struggling to have a conversation and keep the conversation going and share with you guys what we're going through, in the hope that at least one person goes to their GP and gets their weird periods looked at. It shouldn't be taboo to talk about women's health. It shouldn't be taboo to talk about pregnancy loss. If anyone's struggling, please reach out to me or Carl, because we will support you, because we know exactly how it feels.
Still true.
And yeah, I just want to thank our friends and family that's...
So that's the end of that one.
Okay. I want to talk about diagnosis time real quick. Like I said, go to your doctor, talk to your doctor. If your doctor doesn't listen to you, ask for a second opinion. And if that doctor doesn't listen to you, ask for a second opinion. Like, it's so annoying, but we have to be our own advocates. If you think you have endometriosis, you need an ultrasound, or they'll tell you need an ultrasound, but endometriosis very rarely shows up on an ultrasound. So then what you need is laparoscopy, which is the first surgery that I have, and it's really the only way to, like, properly confirm endometriosis. And I remember when I was waiting to be diagnosed, someone was like, you don't have it if you haven't had this surgery. That's not helpful. If someone's in pain, someone's in pain. Like, why are you being elitist about it? What is wrong with you?
We gatekeep.
We gatekeep, yeah. Facebook groups, toxic. But yeah, I think that we saw 6 GPs. We've seen 8 GPs now, and I'm on my 5th consultant, who is excellent. And
yeah, this guy's the real deal.
I feel like it's unfair to say it was worth the wait, because I shouldn't have had to wait, but he is phenomenal, and we're in really good hands now. Like, we're in that clinic, and we waited so long to get into an endometriosis clinic, and we're in that clinic now.
Better late than never.
Yeah.
Almost rings true, but again, that's not a situation where we should have ever been put in to begin with.
It's true. But yes, be your own advocate is the best, unfortunately, advice I can give. So this video was a little bit later. I have no idea what the time span was. My hair is longer. I think it's just before COVID, because it's definitely before we moved to Bedford. And I think we moved to Bedford after COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, let's have a look at what this poor naive fool has to say.
In this video, I'm going to talk about diagnosis and prognosis, so where we're at with the diagnosis, what's happening next. We had a bladder appointment that I'll update you on, and talk to you about the appointments that we've got coming up. This is the stack of appointment letters for now and the end of the year, so I'm not looking forward to most of these.
And I'd just like to point out that thanks to COVID, I didn't get a single one of those appointments. Everything got cancelled and nothing got rebooked. And
thanks to COVID, because we didn't go to any of those appointments, all of the information that was stored in the system under her name was scrapped.
Yeah, literally, I was off every wait list. I had to start again from the beginning, but no one told me. And I fully understand the pressure that the NHS was under during COVID. And I'm not... And it's hard to say I'm not annoyed with the NHS. Like, the individual doctors and nurses obviously worked really, really hard during COVID, and I'm not an arsehole. But because you saw how many appointments they all got cancelled, and my health got worse and worse and worse. And it was only last January when I was like, I'm going to find out where I am on the waiting list because this is getting ridiculous. That I was told that they didn't know about me at all. So, yeah.
I'll start with the bladder appointments. So I've talked before about the issues that I have with my bladder, how frequently I have to go, how painful it is, the support that I need. I had an appointment where they put a camera in to have a look because they were looking to see if there was endometriosis inside, if there was, how bad it was, which is amazing. They have referred me for physiotherapy. So normally pelvic floor physio is to tighten the pelvic floor muscles. The problem that I have is because everything is fused together inside, when my pelvis contracts, my bladder spasms. So we're going to have physio to try and loosen those muscles a little bit. And then go from there. They've also put me on some new tablets, so I've got a pile of medication here. This one is solifenicin.
I've got to say, I've taken so much medication for this disease now, I don't remember that.
I remember the box briefly.
I don't remember this medication.
I don't think it helped at all.
No, it did, apparently.
It's to try and stop my bladder from spasming, and I have to say this is the first month in about 5 years where I haven't really had any bladder issues, and the nurse was amazing, the consultant was amazing. They put the camera in and they have a screen
Can't
and
last
they
as
talk
long.
through everything that you're looking at. It's not like an ultrasound where you have to wait for the results, they can tell you there and then. They gave me loads of advice, so anyone with endometriosis who struggles with their bladder, unfortunately you need to cut out tea and coffee and anything fizzy. It's to do with the tannins in the tea and the coffee, and in carbonated water there's a type of acid, and that is really bad. That's one of the reasons that it's so painful. For me, anyway. And also...
Are you going to tell me off for drinking tea and fizzy drinks?
I'm not going to tell you off for drinking tea and fizzy drinks, but I would like to expand more on the type of food and drink that you have to cut... Officially, you have to cut out because of your endo. Because it's not just tea, coffee, and fizzy drinks, is it?
It's red meat, refined sugars, saturated fats. I can't have tomatoes because they're acidic. Can't eat oranges. Can't have like lemon or lime or anything. Can't have gluten. For two reasons. Gluten. I found gluten-free fish fingers, so it's not the end of the world. But gluten I have really bad bloating. Endometriosis makes you bloat. You get endobelly. So I wake up some days and look 9 months pregnant, which is a real kick in the teeth. But I have to cut that out to try and reduce the bloating, but everything else, because my bladder and my bowel endo is so bad now, and a couple of other organs that I probably don't really want to share on YouTube, have been so badly affected, and my intestines and my stomach lining, that there's so many things I just can't digest anymore. So I don't get to eat anything tasty. No steak, no pork. I really hate fish. I'm really unhappy about it.
I mean...
And I still can't lose any weight because bloating, woo! Also, I'm like looking at how skinny my face is in this video, and I'm like, I do not recognise that girl.
Quitting smoking.
Quitting smoking.
I'm working on and struggling with, but it is one of the
shame.
Biggest causes of bladder cancer. So if you smoke like I do, then it's probably time to think about cutting that out as well.
I should probably get to that.
So from a infertility point of view, we have a couple of appointments coming up. So one is on the 6th of October, which is with the Recurrent Miscarriage Clinic.
Never happened.
Nope.
They're going to have a chat with us, and we're talking about Asherman syndrome. So
who knows?
In the simplest of terms, each time we get pregnant, my body gets confused and attacks the healthy cells, thinking that they're bad cells, and that's why we have so many, they think. Both of us have to have a number of blood tests done. They're looking.
I feel like it's worth noting that actually we only ever had one more miscarriage after this when we lived in Bedford, and that was the last time I fell pregnant, and like that was it, game over. Nothing's happened since, so we didn't get the appointment, so we didn't get any answers, so irrelevant to us now. But if you do suffer from recurrent miscarriages, it is something worth flagging with your doctor.
I think that last one in Bedford was when that's when I woke up to the situation, and that's when I kind of made up my mind. I was like, yeah, kids are great, but it's not worth this.
And I think, like, from what I remember, like, my closest friends at the time were not supportive. It felt very much like a, here she goes again, like, it's got to be for attention now thing, rather than a, that's so awful, I'm sorry you're going through that thing. Like, it didn't feel...
That was a horrible period where we had to defend ourselves.
Yeah.
And it was like, no, we're not trying to have this. We're not trying to.
Like, I'm not enjoying this, but it's good to know that
that's how you feel.
I feel like that is the problem with this disease. Is I've had some really, really close friends that just aren't in my life anymore, and I get it. It must be really, really exhausting for them.
Looking at all sorts of genetic factors to try and work out why this keeps happening. Our last one was particularly horrible, and we've had amazing support and everyone's been great, but it's something that we definitely want to get to the bottom of. We don't want to go down the IVF route if it turns out that it's just going to end the way that all the others have. It's a lot of money, it's a lot of pressure, it's a lot of stress to put on ourselves.
I'd just like to add the percentage increase that IVF
That's
adds.
in this video.
That's in this one.
Yeah. I'll let me
I jumped the gun again.
I'll let me waffle in, and then you can comment on it.
We're still trying to figure out if that's something that we want to do. The crossover issue that we have is because the endometriosis is so severe, we struggle to get pregnant, but to have the surgery to remove the most severe endometriosis will damage my fertility. We were told that if we have the surgery, the chances of us getting pregnant are something like 3%. If it turns out that it is Asherman syndrome or something similar, then when we go for IVF, the chances are that even if it did take, we could lose it. So we have some really tough decisions that we have to make, and we're sort of talking to our family and our friends for advice, because we don't know what we're doing. I'm not going to lie, we're completely lost with it at the moment. We have those appointments at Addenbrooke's, so I currently am seeing consultants across 2 hospitals.
Did you want to waffle?
I wasn't sure if that was it.
Did I say about percentages?
3%
Yeah.
post the post-op.
Yeah.
The IVF only adds a 5 at max % to getting a positive insemination. When you look at it mathematically, even if everything went according to plan, even if we had all those tests and we went to all those appointments and COVID didn't happen and we had the surgery, there's a very good chance, a very real chance, that we still would have ended up without a child anyway.
Yeah, I mean, the last update we had IVF-wise is we were told there was less than a 1% chance that it would be beneficial for us. It may
I don't know what other people's situations are. It may work for them. I've certainly heard of miracle stories where people have got with endometriosis who have gone through IVF and it's worked for them. Congratulations.
It's amazing as well. It's always a really nice story.
But I'd like to reveal a little bit of the truth. I want to just tug on that dream cloud. IVF does not solve everyone's problems. It's not like the miracle cure.
It's a postcode lottery as well.
They try to make it sound like it is.
I do think that the centres can be a little guilty of... certainly some of the centres that we spoke to were a little guilty of no problem,
Yeah, no, well, as soon as we get you into the system, we'll get your blood tested,
yeah.
then we'll harvest your eggs and your semen, and then we'll go from there, and everything will work out fine. But it wasn't until we looked at the numbers, it was like,
Yeah, it just didn't seem worth putting ourselves through it. I do know people that... I know 3 women that have had... their endo has been as severe as mine, and they've had IVF and had their children, but they actually didn't have their IVF on the NHS. They went abroad and had their IVF. And I know someone that also, I think she had like 6 cycles failed, and had a surrogate who, when they did the transfer, fell pregnant and baby stuck, and he's beautiful. So, you know, there are positive stories. It's just that
isn't that like £30,000? 6 cycles, $5 grand per cycle.
5 to 10 grand per cycle. It's a postcode lottery, so depending on where you live, you can either have 1 or 2 attempts on the NHS for free, or you have to pay for it. So,
about 4 or 5 different departments, hence all the letters. West Suffolk are doing their own tests on the bladder front, and Adam Brooks want to do their own tests with a specialist.
Neither of those hospitals did those tests.
I feel a lot more confident with that. I'm having a lot less trouble with it, and in fact this month I was able to cope remarkably well with endometriosis as well.
I also have to say, they must have cancelled this prescription, because although I don't remember taking it, I'll explain why I don't remember taking it probably at the end of this video, because it's important. But for whatever reason they must have stopped it, because I just got worse and went downhill again, and I don't remember this weird happy rainbow month where I didn't have any bladder problems. I don't know what happened.
They can find out.
No, I honestly, like I said, I have a big blank space of a period during my journey that I will probably have to go into, but I don't remember this.
So I'm hoping that things kind of get better from here. Unfortunately, it's unpredictable. You could have a month where you feel really good, and then you think you're going to be fine the next month, and then that will completely cripple you. I've been lucky in that I haven't had to take any time off of work recently, which normally I would have to swap a shift or something, but everybody that I work with is always so amazing about it. And like I said, 1 in 10 women suffer, and the chances are that out of everyone you know, if they don't have endometriosis, they know someone that does. So it's one of those things where you just need to be kind to people, because you don't know what other people have going on. I did sort of mention before about pregnancy announcements and that kind of thing, and again, I just want to stress that we don't begrudge anyone. We're happy for our friends and our family members, and we want babies to cuddle, so don't feel bad about telling us. Just, it's one of those things. We're aware of how awkward people feel, and we just want to put our friends at ease. Like, we're excited for you. Having to go through all these appointments, one of the things that I find the hardest is I share a waiting room with pregnant women. Every time I go for an ultrasound, I share the waiting room with pregnant women.
So it's driven you absolutely crazy, hasn't it?
Pregnant women. When we go to the IVF clinic, pregnant women. Although
there should be 2 separate
sometimes
ones.
they look like they're feeling guilty, which is horrible, because we're all in the same boat.
Yeah. So I don't remember that, and I don't talk about it a lot, but I think the reason that I don't remember that is when I first got sick, I was prescribed tramadol as a medication, and not only is tramadol a pain relief, but it's extremely addictive, and I was very young, and they didn't monitor it, they just prescribed it each month, and I did get to the stage at my worst where I was taking 56 a week, and I'd panic if my prescription was running low. It was a really scary time, and it was awful. I'd hallucinate, couldn't sleep, couldn't eat.
The contemptuous donkey.
Yeah, I had really weird dreams about donkeys all the time. And I got to the point where I actually pulled Carl and my oldest friend aside when we were on holiday and was like, I need help now, I don't know what to do, this is clearly a problem. And you had to regulate my pain relief, so I had to be like really obviously in pain for him to give me one. And I just weaned myself off. The problem I've had since is I obviously have extreme chronic pain, but now there's notes on my file at the GP about the issues with the tramadol, so getting prescribed pain relief is extremely difficult. And And imagine that you cut your stomach open and your GP gave you paracetamol and sent you on your way. Like, that's essentially what I have to deal with now. And I'm clean. I don't take any opiates now. I don't have codeine. I don't have anything like that. But it is something to be aware of. It's just another thing that the lack of care from doctors around this condition caused me such a major problem. And it's just worth mentioning, and it's actually quite scary that I don't remember that. I don't remember recording that video. I don't remember that medication. Yeah. Just, do you have anything you want to add on that? No. Covered it all.
I think you pretty much covered it all.
Yeah. I'm good now. So this has turned out slightly longer than we thought it was going to be. We've been sat on the floor for a really long time, so we're going to split it up into 2 episodes. So if you want to see Carl's reaction to the interview that he gave about endometriosis, which I really, really encourage you to see, because partners are the unsung heroes.
We are.
Then check out our next video. I will link it at the end of this one. So thank you very much. Bye.
Bye.